Hey there everyone, Laurel here. Welcome to another video here. Today I'm going to be creating some floral backgrounds using the Faber-Castell Gelatos and the Mini Misti. I actually have a giveaway for the Mini Misti over on my blog, so be sure to head on over there. It's linked below in the description to see how to enter. I'm going to make all three of these cards in the video today. So this is the Mini Misti. If you haven't seen me use it in previous videos, let me introduce you. I love this little Mini Misti. It's fantastic. I have both the regular size and the mini. I gravitate towards the mini more because I mostly make cards, but for big background stamp images that are 6x6 that I have, I've got my full-size Misti. So I'm covered on all grounds here. So this is the floral background stamp from the ton, and I'm going ahead and color. It's already mounted onto the door of my Misti there. I've already placed my paper where I want it to be. I place my stamp on top of the paper, then I close the door to pick up the stamp, and that's what you see here. Now I'm taking different color gelatos and I'm just scribbling directly onto the stamp here. Now all you have to do is make sure that your entire stamp has color on it, because when you go to transfer it down onto your paper, you want to make sure that all the image has colors on it so it'll transfer over. So these are gelatos, little creamy pigmented chapsticks of yumminess, calorie-free gelatos. So I'm going to go ahead and spritz that with water because gelatos are formulated, they do react with moisture. So I'm going to spritz that stamp there just a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and press down. And when you lift it up, look at that look that you get, a beautiful watercolored background that really took little effort to create because we're using the gelatos here. So I'm going to take the paper again, put it down there in that left-hand corner because my stamp has not moved from the hinge door. I know it's going to stamp exactly where I want it to stamp, so I went ahead and pressed it down. I'm going to do it a third time, but not that much is going to transfer over. I probably should have given it a few more spritzes of water. So you're going to see here that you're going to get a really light impression, but that's okay. This is, we're using the Misti, so no problemo. I'm going to grab some gelatos here and I'm going to scribble. I'm not going to do the whole image again like I did when I first colored up this stamp here. I'm just going to go in and add a little color here and there. Then I'm going to spritz it with some water again to reactivate all the color there. And then I'm going to press down again because we're using the Misti. Everything's in its same place, so I've got no issues about restamping. And then I'm left with these three beautiful backgrounds. So again, this is the floral border stamp by the Ton Stamps. So now we are going to turn all three of these backgrounds into cards. I'm using 3 different dies here. I'm going to die cut these backgrounds here. 3 different dies from 3 different companies. So let's get started here. I'm going to tape them all down with some painter's tape. I'm using the double stitched rectangle dies from the Ton, the inside and out diagonal stitched rectangle die from My Favorite Thing, which is this one right here, and then the Love Mom Layers die set from W+9, which you'll see in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere all those down with some painter's tape, and then take them, run them through my die cutting machine, and then bam, you're left with this. Now this one is the double stitched rectangles from the Ton. I mounted them onto my card, 2 dies onto that one background, and then it gave me that whole frame die cut. It's so cute, and it's got a nice stitched background around the border. It's hard to see here, but it's there, I promise. So now I wanted to create my own sparkly pink paper, so I've got some pink cardstock here. I'm going to take my Versamark ink pad here and just smush it down directly onto my cardstock there. Then I'm going to take some Judikins Iridescent Sparkle Embossing Powder. Man, that's a mouthful. Judikins Iridescent Sparkle Embossing Powder. It's a embossing powder that's got like little bits of sparkle all in it. So I'm going to create my own little glittered cardstock here. So I'm just going to sprinkle that on, and then I will go ahead and heat set that. And then look at that pretty sparkle that's left behind. It's so pretty. And because it's embossing powder, it's not going to come off all over your fingers like some traditional glitters would. Then I'm going to take the Love You Mom. That's from the W+9 die set that we used on the cutout. We cut out one of the frames there. It also comes with the Love You Mom word die in there. So I went ahead and die cut that out. Now I've got these cool glittery embossed words here. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere the frame part down directly to that pink card base there. That's the same pink that I used to create that glittered or that glittery embossed background there. This is not the traditional way to apply your word die cuts, but I was in a hurry and I don't really care about getting my fingers dirty, so I just kind of am using my fingers to apply this multi-matte medium glue. I love this glue. It's super strong, but it dries completely clear, and I'm messy, as you can see here. So if it oozes out the side, it doesn't matter because it dries completely clear. Now this is a stamp set from Ellen Hudson from the Essentials by Ellen line, and it's called Amazing Women, I believe. And this has some wonderful sentiments for all the women in your lives, mom, grandparents, sisters, the works. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that up. Again, I'm using my Misti so I can get good placement here. This is the color Caviar from the 10 stamps. It's a nice gray. I went ahead and stamped it twice, so I got a really nice crisp background there. Then I'm going to pop that panel up with some foam dimension and apply that here, that right down on our card base, and that's the first card. Let's go ahead and move on to the second one here. And here you can get a look at those diagonal stitch lines. That's from the Inside and Out diagonal stitched rectangle. These are all mouthfuls, I tell you, these titles, for my favorite things. And again, I'm going to use the same stamp set for all of my sentiments. I just think this is an absolutely fantastic stamp set. Again, it's called Amazing Women from Ellen Hudson. I love the scripty font as well and stuff. So again, I'm going to be using my Misti here. Want to make sure that I get placement every time because, you know, I'm known for almost being done with my card and all I have left to do is my sentiment, and I drop my stamp or it's crooked or whatever. I don't have this problem with my Misti. This is some smoky gray VersaFine ink. It's a pigment ink. So I'm going to go ahead and again ink that up twice just so I get a nice charcoal. Well, actually, it looks like I'm doing it 3 times. 3 times a charm, right? And because it's a pigment ink, it stays wet a little bit longer. So let's go ahead and heat emboss this with some clear embossing powder. So I'm sprinkling on that clear embossing powder. Then I'll go ahead and zap that with my heat tool. Gives me a nice crisp, like charcoal gray, well, smoky gray, because that's the name of the ink. And yeah, that's going to just about finish up this card. I'm just going to put some adhesive on the back of that panel and adhere that down to the same pink colored card base that we used for the previous card. And then that's it. It's going to be time to move on to the third and final card of this video. Can you believe I did 3 cards in 8 minutes and 46 seconds? Well, it's of course sped up, but still, I mean, kind of proud of myself. All right, so here's the third card here. Again, pretty similar to the last one. So again, I'm going to ink up the same stamp set. You know the drill, right? It's with that same smoky gray pigment ink. I'm going to do a double stamp here. Sprinkle on some embossing powder and give that a zap with my heat tool. Now it's good and heated up at this point because I've used it so much, so it's going to heat very quickly here. And for this one, just something a little bit different, a little subtle. I decided to grab some Hickory Smoke Distress Spray Stain. I'm just going to flick on a little bit of that, just a little bit. Now, you see where I got that dot right there in the middle of the sentiment there? I kind of wish I hadn't done that, but, you know, what am I going to do? You know, it's there. So I let it dry, zapped it with my heat tool, and then I'm going in with a little bit of tumbled glass right there in the center. That's a Clarity stencil brush that I'm using to apply it. I wanted a very soft color, just a tiny bit of blue here. And then I'm going to round the corners because this is that die from the W+9 set, which has the rounded corners. So I wanted my rounded corners to match on my card base there. So I used that with the We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper and the 1/4 inch measurement there and adhered that down. And that's it. All 3 cards done. So I've got all 3 mother figures in my lives covered here, right here with these 3 cards. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. And remember, you could win the mini Misti. Like, seriously, be sure to head on over to my blog post. It's linked down below in the description if you need it, to enter the giveaway. And if you haven't already, I would love for you to click here to subscribe, and you can subscribe to my channel and get notified every time I post a new video. Thank you guys for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.